Okay, so first of all, I'm really, really, really excited to have you here. And just to be the first person is major for me because not only are you well known for what you write, right, Shoshana? It's also the way you've been doing things, the way you've been running your courses and just how it's shaped up. It's been so fun to watch. I've been getting your emails in my inbox and I've been like watching this space and just seeing how they've grown and how they've changed. And I'm just excited to hear what's been going on. So if you could just start tell everyone about you.
Well, it's a lot of fun to see you again.
Yeah.
And it's been a while. It has been a while. It's been a couple of years. In a word or a sentence, I'd say I work with women who feel stuck, whether that's emotional eating or the way they experience relationships, or if you want to, whether or not it's actually codependency, doesn't have to be, or other compulsive behaviors or patterns. And I help them feel like they're back in control of their lives. And I do that through several different modalities. I'm kind of eclectic. I kind of like to just use what works. So it's a combination of EFT tapping and some like 12-step behavioral kinds of tools. If somebody's here, then I might be able to offer them also equine therapy. Obviously, that doesn't work over Zoom.
Very interesting. Wow.
Yeah. And, the goal is to create these lasting shifts. And as you said, so people know me from Mishpacha magazine, right? I've been writing for Mishpacha for, I think it's got to be at least 15 years.
Wow. That's very impressive. Wow.
Long time. And I remember my first serial for them way, way back when. And I'd already been an author. I published my first book in 1998, I think. And
wow. I'm not going to tell you how old I was in 1998. Okay. Wow. So this has been going on for a long time. So when did the courses start? When did that kind of start creeping into your life?
So because I had been working in addiction and codependency and equine, and I've been doing all these things, and I've been doing all one-on-one. And then I started getting clients from Chutz La'aretz, people from, because I'm in Israel, as you know. So I would get people from New York and they'd say, well, can we do this? Can we do that? And I started working just by phone, actually, if you can believe that, in the old days, by phone. This is pre-Zoom. And then, of course, during COVID, when everybody started working on Zoom, it became like a very popular and very effective way to meet with people without them having to be really present. And what happened was I was meeting with a lot of people, and Baruch Hashem, I really felt like I was helping. I was doing my part. I really understand people in this way. And what they call is like hitting a glass ceiling. I only had X number of hours in a week, and I had people lining up on a waiting list, and that didn't sit well with me because I really do feel like I have a kind of a unique tool set. And I had these people who wanted my help and I couldn't help them. So then it just kind of morphed into, how could I help more people at the same time? And so that was how the idea of doing an online course came about.
Wow. And what was the timeline for that? What kind of year did you start with that?
Ooh, I'm not so good with dates.
Okay, fine. I knew that. I'm terrible at dates. I'm just trying to figure out how long you were in the game before we met.
Oh, it was a while because I had already, in my early days in Returno, I went through a year or two of really intense training in the world of addiction and codependency. And they, for them, I was lecturing and I was doing workshops and I was doing all kinds of things. So already under their auspices, I had been doing all these different kinds of courses. Mm-hmm. And so when I struck out on my own, I had already had all this experience in how to give over this. It's not just material. Okay. It depends who the audience was. It started with giving it over to education professionals, principals, Rabbanim even. That's where it started. And there's this whole world out there of people who could really use this information who have no access to it. So I'd had all this experience there. And so naturally, when I morphed into Zoom, I thought, well, how can I apply everything I've learned and give it over in the most effective way possible?
Right. And then comes the marketing piece. It's interesting. I find that most close creators, they really, really want to give. And then suddenly, hey, 1 minute, if I really want to fill up a cohort every single year, there's a missing piece I've got to do. So then I wrote this article in Mishpacha, and then we met based on that. So at that stage, you hadn't yet launched the Satisfied Self. So tell me how things have evolved since then.
Well, at the time, I had an audience, I had an email list. I had been sending out an email once a month just to kind of keep touch with people. Most of my people were people who'd gotten in touch with me at one point or another for various reasons. I got a lot of feedback from my articles in Mishpacha. You cannot believe how many people wrote to me after Grab the Reins. That was my last book, and it was about my experiences working with people in addiction and youth and adults and all kinds of people. And I am still getting emails, maybe about once a week. Maybe it's dwindled down to once every 2 weeks sometimes, of people who say, this book changed my life. And, obviously that's major.
1 second. This is a curiosity question. Anybody who writes into you, I hope you're adding them to your email list. Do you?
I automatically add them. I don't automatically add them because actually when I met with a lawyer about the course, because I just wanted advice, I'm clueless. This law is not my so
of course, yeah.
The lawyer, and he said, no, you can't automatically add anybody to your list that you feel like it. You have to get the permission. So what I started doing is at the bottom of my email, so it says, if you want to be on my email list, just hit reply. So if they've replied to me, I know they're consenting that I can add them to my email list.
That's great. That's really good. Fantastic. When people reach out to you, there's a very strong level of interest. So it's really good to hear that you are leveraging in some way. That's amazing. Because, people don't always make the connection between the two. So that's great. Amazing. Okay. So I remember when we talked and I was like, okay, you wanted to launch this EFT tapping course. It sounded extremely interesting. So how did things grow from when we met?
So you gave me a really, really valuable piece of advice, which is do market research. And when I first heard that, I'm like, I'm not a market research person. I'm not a marketer in any way. It felt really repulsive to me. Like, I can't do that. I can't do that. But I really thought about it, and then I really did it. And I started asking people. So who did I ask? I reached out to former clients. I asked current clients, and I asked people who kind of fit the demographic, my target audience that I was trying to work with. And I said, can you share your experience with me? And I gave them some questions, but it was just a conversation really about what they needed and how I could help them best. And what that did for me was it really helped me understand how what I'm offering and what they need fit together. And it gave me a language to use to be able to reach those people for both our sakes. An example, as I was thinking about this, I'm like, a lot of people who have dealt with weight loss issues over the years, they feel deprived. It's a big buzzword, feeling deprived. But the word deprivation doesn't speak to anybody. So that tiny tweak told me, okay, deprivation's not going to speak to anybody, but you still use the word deprived. And that's just an example of what I learned, quote unquote, market research. And then when I started working more with this demographic, they were just giving me more and more feedback all the time. So I was able to keep refining what they wanted. Like I would change what I was teaching based on what they were saying, like in the courses, people would ask questions and I'd think, what, that's such a good question. I'm going to answer that now. And I'm going to make myself a note that next time I give this course, I'm going to spend much more time on that question, for example.
Amazing.
So I launched that first course.
Right.
When I thought kind of naively at the time that, I'll just do my first course and I'll record it. And then I'll have all this material, this pre-recorded material to use for my next course. And as I did it, I realized how absurd that was because of what I just said. First of all, that I need to learn more from you people that I'm talking to. What's better for you? They were helping much as I was teaching them. They were helping me refine my message. And so in my second course, and that's how it goes. You keep listening and you keep refining. So I've done a couple of these courses now, after I officially launched those courses. I'm giving my next one is going to be Emeretz Hashem right after Sukkot. And in addition to that, I offered a membership. So I have the Satisfied Self course. In addition to that, it's totally optional, but you can sign up for the membership. And wow. And if I thought the course was powerful, the people who stayed on the membership, it's like this exponential growth because not to get too far into my course material, but basically you're learning tools to clear away the unconscious things that are preventing you from reaching your goals. So the more work you do, the more you clear, the better you feel. And the work gets deeper and deeper all the time. Plus, it gives you structure and it gives you accountability. It stops you from backsliding. It's got like all these built-in amazing features, and it's inexpensive. So you're getting a high value for very low cost.
Wow. I just love the structure. Okay. So first of all, there's so much I want to ask you. So let's start with the fact that, first of all, the whole idea of having a course, which feeds into a membership, like up for even more, that is like one of these gold standard structures. So well done for coming up with it. That's for started. Number two, when you said like the first time you launched your course and you thought you were going to be able to just pack away all those digital recordings and just share them next time, how did you launch your course? Did you send out emails? Did you do print ads? What was your strategy?
For the first course, I only sent out emails. That was it.
Phenomenal.
Nothing else.
Amazing. Amazing. And how many emails did you do? Was it like a typical sales sequence? What did it look like?
It was a sales sequence, which I spent an inordinate amount of time refining because I'm not a marketer and I don't like the selling of it. So I had to make it not cheap for me, for myself. I had to not say like, I've got this, I couldn't make it overly salesy and markety. I had to be offering something at the same time. So it was a balance of doing that. But in the end, I felt like I struck a decent balance. I still sent more emails than I maybe would have wanted.
Right. It's such a critical piece, this, by the way, because there are a lot of course creators out there like, they hear from all these online groups that it has to have this and it has to have that. And they write a sales sequence, which doesn't feel like them, but it's gonna work, right? Because it has to. I just love how you really worked on drilling them down so that you were happy with what you sent out. Also, the authenticity of your voice when it comes to it, it's not just like buy now, with all the sales tactics. I definitely stand on sales tactics. You need to have that strategy. You need to open your doors, you need to close your doors, otherwise people just don't buy in. The psychology does work. However, to make it feel authentic, feel like you, and not actually harm your brand or like literally destroy your brand, it's a super important piece, and that's amazing. So I love to hear that that's what you did. And I don't think in a limited amount of time doesn't make sense. I think it makes less sense because you're going to keep using this sequence and you're going to keep sending out again and again or variations of it. Is that what you do? You keep using it again and again? Same sequence?
Or variations of it. Definitely variations of it. And part of it is growing more comfortable with the sales idea.
Yeah.
And I really had to grow into that because, again, why am I doing this? I'm doing this to help people. And it's at the end of the day, people are purchasing something, but they're purchasing because they find value in it. When they go to the store, I love for bread. There's value in it. And then people have to understand, and it has an ingredients list and it tells you what's in the ingredients list. So people just need to know what they're getting. So I'm not cheapening myself by revealing what's in my course. I'm actually just giving people information so they can make an informed decision.
Amazing. That is exactly the approach. And it's so resonant. I'm telling you, everybody who hears this is going to be like, yes, that's me. Well, I think so. Yeah, it's totally true. And I think the key word, like you said, in other words, that is showcasing. When you showcase the value, you're just literally unpacking what's inside, right? And that is really what sells people. I think that one of the highest performing emails of an email sequence is what I call the module breakdown email, where you literally list out what's inside because people are like, yes, I want that, and yes, I want that, and that. So, wow, she's really going to be like building up this picture all the way through. But then if you had exactly a parallel of that, but that kind of showcasing, that definitely is the way to go, and it really resonates with your audience as well. So yeah, that's definitely my feeling about that. Wow, that is so resonant. Amazing. So then I would love to move on a little bit to your content email. I feel like when we met, you were sending them out once a month. It's not once a month anymore, right? Is it once a week?
It's once a week. It's might even, and I'm actually amping it up a little bit now. My social media emails.
Amazing. So do you want to tell me why you're amping it up? Because you're getting into the launch?
I feel like I really have what to offer, and my audience, like there's a lot of people who just don't know about me yet. My Mishpacha readers, 15 years, believe me, they know who I am.
Yeah.
And that's fabulous. But there are other magazines and these people don't know about me. What's more, those people are maybe even more likely to have a better internet access for an internet course.
Right. Yes. Yes, that's a big part of the story.
So I've gotten a lot of referrals lately, and I'm not even sure why, because I didn't even start amping it up yet, but I've gotten a lot of personal referrals. That's the truth. I get a lot of personal referrals, and And so those people bring more people. And so it is widening my circle. And those people all end up on my mailing list, my email list. And then it does broaden. But at the same time, closer to the course, I will be doing some print or digital ads. I'll have to decide what I want to do. But yeah, so now I'm doing a once a week format, and I am also amping up my social media presence because, again, it's expanding my market.
Right.
These are people who read Mishpacha magazine,
For sure. And on social media, do you share lead magnets so people can sign up to your email list?
I did one campaign on social media, and it was funny because I got a lot of emails from people who said, I don't have the right internet access. How do I do this? So I sent them like PDF or videos, whatever I sent them. But I didn't get a lot of engagement otherwise. And I'll have to think about what that's about. And that's fine. So I haven't really used that yet. What I do have is in my email itself, in my signature, I have a free mini course that I offer, and people sign up for that and they try it. And, they say, that's really interesting. And there's plus and minus to that, because if it's too far in advance of the course, people lose interest or forget by the time the course comes around. And also, it's just a sampling. I'm not giving them a 12-week course. The free mini course I'm giving, it's really, you do the whole thing in under a half an hour. And I did it on purpose because I wanted it to be accessible and quick and doable. And people say, I didn't really notice a change. Well, you're not really going to have a deep change happen in under 30 minutes. It's a quick something to have at your fingertips. But this is just supposed to be a taste. So when people look at that taste and they say, well, that's the whole package, and so that also can work against me.
I hear you. Interesting. So I guess the key to that would be that at the end of your course, then you start telling them about what else you want to offer, or, but also your nurture emails, then that should also maintain interest, because if you're doing weekly nurture, that should help a lot. What happens? But it should, and that's what's in the works. But okay, so now I have to ask you, I can see that you put a picture on the top of each email. First of all, I love that picture of you as a kid. That was just too cute. But that must have been like a comfort zone thing, no? To put a photo on top of every email as recommended as it is. Was it hard to start doing that? Well, not really.
That's a good question. I think that question actually takes me back to when I published my first book, because the question was, do I publish under my own name or do I publish under a pseudonym? I really, battled with that and back and forth for a long time. And in the end, authenticity for me won out. I'm bringing a little piece of me here, and I can't hide behind who I am. Right. And so I made a decision a long, long time ago that I'm going to just be me. And, if you like it, great. And if you don't, that's okay too. So when the decision about putting pictures up, it was kind of the same thing. It's just, this is me, and this is who I am. And it's okay if it doesn't suit you. I'm all right with that.
Right. Amazing. I think it adds such a good, authentic piece to the emails, and it just changes our experience. I'm almost certain that there are certain people on your list who open the emails just to see the picture. I'm sure there are. I know ones that open and then they scroll down, hey, what's she saying? If a course creator can do it, I love the idea. But yeah, definitely get that. It's like outside the comfort zone of most people, but I love that you've embraced it. It's amazing. Okay, and so just your general email strategy, right? Because, what are the nuts and bolts of this? So it's super curious. So you're emailing once a week, right? And then when you get to launch, then you send out sales sequence the whole week, right? Now, during your content emails, the emails that you just send to nurture, do you link to your course as well? And then, or they're just no, they're just for you to build interest?
I've actually have been linking until now. And now I'm right now at a phase where I'm a little bit building my brand more. I spent half a year focusing on the course, and now I'm taking a little bit of a step back from that and building my brand more. I have a new website I just put up a few weeks ago.
Oh, wow. Well,
thank you. So I had a site for my course, and I have this new Shoshana Schwartz site up. And now my next task is to merge the two sites so that because it shouldn't be two. So I kind of have to shift focus a little bit, and I have to do it kind of quickly because I do need to get back on track before my course. So right now I'm in a little bit of a transitional phase.
Got you. I hear you. Okay, fine. It's interesting. I wondered, do you find that when you did link in your content emails to your course as well, did you find that you got just random signups, or
yeah.
You did get random signups? And
for my email, for my mini course, because after this, my plan is, Mir Hashem, but as of now, my thought is to offer it twice a year, after Sukkot and after Pesach. But last past course, I had started too late. I'd started like in January, so it was like too soon to do another course. So all the people who like missed the course to me to do it right then, and I couldn't do it. I have a waiting list of like 10 or 12 people who were interested, but it wasn't the right timing. Whether all those people signed up or not, that's a different story, because people miss it.
Yeah. So when you say that you linked to a course on the content emails, we're not talking about the satisfied self. We're talking about a mini course. Is that right?
Well, it was to the satisfied self, but the satisfied self course just says there's no course. It gives information about it, like, you can try the mini. There is also the mini course link there. So, depending on how people find it, they're finding something.
Okay, interesting. So why did you choose Experientify as your course platform? And what is Experientify? Do you still use it? I remember that was the discussion at the time. You do?
Yeah.
Well, I found actually that the user interface is absolutely horrible, but it does the trick. It is gorgeous for the actual user. So tell me about that.
Yeah. I am using Experientify because I really like the experiential aspect of it. Because, I'm not teaching facts. It's experiential healing work. And you need a lot of high engagement. And Experientify allows me to celebrate like every small action, every small win. It helps me build momentum and keep clients engaged. Right? Because if you think about it, it's kind of right up my alley, because the bleeps and the bloops and all the things that when you check off a task done, really what it does is it gives you a little bit of a dopamine hit.
Right.
So instead of going and opening their fridge for dopamine hit, so come engage with the course, do something good for yourself and get that dopamine hit. To me, that was a big plus. It was a big to do it that way. Yes, the interface can be frustrating to learn. Yes, it took me a very long time to get comfortable with it. The smartest thing I did was I had them design my first back-end course. And then I tweaked it. I totally took it apart and put it back together again. But it was like the way that my brain worked, that I needed to see how it was built so I could dismantle it and put it back together again. It has limitations. They have this thing now that they're offering, a program called Go Plus, which is like a subdivision of Go High Level. So basically they're like combining all your different tools into this one big tool. So I designed my own website through that, instead of having to have that separately. I have my control over my website, and they have a mailing list. It's all just kind of centralized. It just was less complicated for me to do it that way. And they're offering a package for free. Of course, I paid twice that, but okay.
Right. So you're sending out emails from this CRM idea?
Yes.
Interesting. So you're not at the moment, you're using Go Plus. You're not really using Experientify.
Very using both, because my membership is also run through the Experientify. And every month, you come on the live session or you watch the replay, ding, you journaled the week's prompt, ding, you checked in with your buddy, ding, and it keeps you. There's also a forum. This is not a population who's on Facebook at the moment. Right. This is the current cohort. And this provides a forum for them to say, wow, here's what I did, or here's what I'm grateful for, or I want to be held accountable for this. And there's interaction. Not everybody chooses to interact, and that's fine too. But that's the quality of interaction.
Amazing. So do you think that you would recommend it to other course creators? Experientify?
With caution, meaning know your target audience. I had a lot of filter issues. So I helped people through it. I worked together with TAG and said, here's how to do this. And so, here's what you have to just tell your internet provider and, the filtering company. And we worked through, most people were able to work through it without a problem. That said, I've got a couple of women who go to a kiosk to get on the monthly call. They did it during the course. They went once a week to a kiosk, and they once a month, they go to a kiosk to have this call. It's so important to them. They make it work for them, but not everybody's that dedicated.
Yeah. Wow. That's very, very interesting. I once did one course on Experientify because the drop-off rates were not great, and we wanted to increase them. We couldn't use many features like the leaderboards, but all the dings and the celebrations we did use, but we actually didn't find that people that much more. We used the magic link. So we basically uploaded the magic link into our email, different emails that was provided, the active campaigns. It was like a field. So in the emails, we just plopped in that field in each email. And so they could click on the magic link. But yeah, we didn't actually find that it made people more sticky for this specific course. So I guess I'm just adding a caveat that for some courses, it is incredible. And for other courses, then it just had a trial period. We ran one course with it. I think that what was nice is that we got comments. In the past, we never really had these deep comments. So we got comments. And I do think people enjoyed the user interface and how easy it was. But still, just as far as money-wise, it didn't actually make a difference. So we just typed it in. But it does sound like it's an extraordinarily good fit for your course specifically. So that's great. Wow. Okay, so you told me that you use the dings on the celebration. I think we have badges as well. Are there any other features? Do you use the leaderboards? Any other
I
things
don't
you
use
use?
leaderboards. I don't use
What?
I haven't yet use the leaderboards.
Right. Do you specifically not want to use the leaderboards, or it's like just a step?
A lot of deliberation about it. I don't create the reason leaderboards are nice is because it creates a sort of positive peer pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't want people to feel pressured. So I've been thinking about it, and I have not yet done it. And I'm not convinced that it's going to help people engage more. I think it might just create guilt, in which case, like, what have I accomplished? So
Yeah.
I'm really on the fence about it. I like the it's like a very polished look. People come on my course and like I've gotten, feedback like, wow, you give the whole package. Because there's the replay, is everything's so easy to find.
Yeah.
And the videos are just there whenever you want them, and you can have a section for downloads, and everything's just so easy to find. And after doing it the first time, so then you start to improve the graphics. There are features that I haven't really figured out how to use yet. Like they have something called a rescue experience. And if somebody doesn't log in for a certain amount of time, so it sends them a reminder to log in, but it doesn't let me send multiple reminders. So I can't wrap my head around how to tweak it. And I've been in touch with them and still haven't gotten anywhere with that. But I overall think it's a plus. And I think it helps me know who's doing what, which is cool. I can look and I can see, wow, this person hasn't logged in in a long time. Maybe they just need me to reach out.
Right. And do you do that?
Oh, I have. Yeah, I have. I mean, some of these, I ran a different course. Also I did it through Experientify. Somebody just completely begged me to do this. And I thought it would be much easier than it was to actually make it technically feasible. But it was a course for mentors, for young women mentors to understand. I wasn't teaching them how to be a mentor. I was teaching them how to understand addiction and recognize addiction and how to deal with codependency for the people the young women that they were mentoring. So I had only 4 women in this course, and I was willing to do it because these 4 women really, really needed it. And they were completely unengaged with the course, like with the bleeps and the dings, nothing. But they got on every single week and they did everything. But that's it. See, that's the difference between an information course and a healing kind of a course.
Interesting. When the main element of the course is kind of just like a list of tasks to do, and you're doing things together on the call. And then it's more about like learning a tool and implementing a tool, and then doing the tools throughout the following week. Is that kind of the difference between the two things?
Yeah,
Right.
because I'm just giving information. So like, I didn't need to, they don't need to check off, yes, I read this. Yes, I get, like they do it.
Yeah, they were there already. And that was probably part of the shortcoming again of the other course that I was running as well. It was mainly an information course, but then there was a quiz that went along with it. So the quiz, we wanted people to be really engaged with the quiz and the recording, keep up with the recordings and do the quiz. But still, it just didn't work as well. So yeah. Okay, great. I suppose you've never actually used another platform, so you can't really contrast it, whether the retention rates are better than you've seen anywhere else. But I guess you've been giving courses even before you started the Experientify, so you can compare it to that experience.
So the courses that I'd given previously, some of them were in person. So that is a whole different.
It's not an online course. It's not an online course. It doesn't go by the rules. There's a whole different dynamic. Right.
I think the last course I gave online before Experientify was a course to a group of educators in Antwerp. Who it was similar to the mentor course in that it was like I was giving them education professionals. I was giving them information about addiction to help them recognize and deal with the people that they were already interacting with. And it was a committed group of women. It was like they came as a group. So there was like a group identity. So it wasn't such a concept of, like if I come or don't come, nobody will care.
Right, I hear you. Yeah, I definitely hear that. Okay, so we've talked about your basic funnel. How do you use your platform to grow your list? Or do you not?
Well, I didn't actually do it intentionally. It wasn't my goal of doing that. I noticed that it was happening. And because at some point, and this was probably also your prompting, when you said you have to ask people how they've heard about you, which was also seemed like a very awkward question. But at some point I'm like, well, it makes sense. And there's nothing wrong with asking that question. Just ask the question. And so I asked the question, and how did you hear about me?
Right.
And so a lot of people said, well, either I read your book. A lot of people will say I read your book, or, well, I read your column 3 months ago, 6 months ago, or this week or whatever in Mishpacha, and I contacted you. So sort of after the fact, I noticed that was happening.
Mm-hmm. But you've never asked them permission if, I don't know, once in a while before your call, so you could like put a few words in italics in the bottom of your column and say, I've got a free mini course available, visit this web address.
Okay, they don't do links.
You would never do that.
No, but I do. I mean, my byline has the course. It says, and I work with whatever it says, with codependency and addiction and compulsive eating. And I'm the founder of the Satisfied Self course. So anybody who wants, look it up and they find me.
Right. They do find you. Okay, great. And I actually love that. So then if the course isn't open, then they're taken to the page where they could sign up for the lead magnet, which is the mini course, which is really good because then you can get them on your email list. Okay. I guess the journey from print to an email list is a long journey. It's hard. Generally, when people advertise a course, they don't advertise a big magnet because, they read on Shabbos and then, I'm going to sign up, send my email address for this little PDF or this webinar, when it's a whole course and okay, that's a life decision, they're going to remember it. They're going to remember it from print. So yeah, that is hard. Yeah, it's just hard to get people to actually convert from print. Interesting. Wow. Okay, so where do you see yourself going from here? What coming up next?
I want to expand the course I'm doing now. Obviously, as I said, I wanted to come to twice a year. I would love to do it, say, at multiple times for people. Because, the time zone difference is really significant for some people.
Yeah.
The compromise I made is that I do it pretty much, the time doesn't work for everybody. So it's usually 10 a.m. on the Eastern Coast to Eastern time and 5 p.m. for me, or 5:30.
Yeah.
And that's dinner time for Israelis. So it's not great. But what if I had enough people registered at the same time that I could do one that's better for people in the States and one that's better for people here? So it'd be amazing. That's one thing I want to do. But I also have so many other things that I want to do. I just can't concentrate on everything at once. I would love to expand, like I said, the course for educators or mentors about addiction. I would love to get that more out there at some point. I would also love even more than that. I want to do 12 steps for non-addicts. There are so many amazing, amazing tools in the 12-step program that could really make significant life changes for people, but nobody would do it. Why would anybody do it? There's no reason to go to a 12-step program if you don't need a 12-step program. So I would love to do that. And I've had so much interest in that over the years, but it's just a new area that I'm just not yet. I really stress the yet ready to go to. And the other thing that I actually have done a few times, I've done some healing retreats where I combine EFT. This was actually before I started with the Satisfied Self course. The focus was more on the tools from the 12 steps and incorporating EFT. And I would love to expand that. But that's a whole nother area of development that I would have to have the time and resources to do.
Did you ever think about launching a retreat the same way as you launch a course?
Sure.
Right. And you did it like that?
I didn't do it, but I thought about it. You said, have I thought about it? Of course I've done. I had to choose what would be the most effective thing to do. And a retreat is going to cost a lot more. Mm-hmm. And so I can help less people, even though for me, it's in a way much more fun because I get to go someplace fun, Right. And it's fun in that way. It's a ton of work, but it's got its own dynamic and you really make these very close connections with people. And it's just super special. And I'd love to do it again. But with a course, there's a limit to how many people you can touch personally in an in-person retreat. Although, hopefully I'd love it to build it to a place where I can, but I had to choose a focus. So I chose this.
Right. Yeah. And that makes so much sense. I think that it's interesting because I had seen definitely what Amy Portsfield, the big course creator out there. she's had a journey, right? So she started with loads of courses and getting regular people in the courses. And then like now she's kind of moving along more to that retreat model where it's like really high ticket, maybe people who are willing to pay way more, like could be more the mentor style people. And she's just like narrowing smaller groups of high impact people as time goes on. And that could be completely happen with your journey as well as things grow and grow and progress. It's such an wow, it sounds incredible. Incredible. What would you say to a creator who hasn't yet built an email list and is selling a course that's the only through print ad? Do you believe in email lists? What do you think about email lists?
Email lists are fantastic. My first course sold just through email lists.
Right.
How do you develop an email list is a different question. That's your purview.
It absolutely is. So I'm always out there saying you have to have an email list. It's like, all roads in your business have to be to email list. The email list is where people convert. So I want to hear from your point of view, as in you transition as a creator who don't really use your email list to market courses, to really use an email list. Most of these market your course. And would you also stand on the rooftops and say, course creators, get yourself an email list. It's going to be the biggest asset this business has. Or you're like, no, not so passionate.
I think that email list is probably the number one tool.
Right.
Because these are people that I have a relationship with. I have people who write me just out of nowhere every 2-3 months just to say, hi, remember I wrote you about such and such a thing. And of course, if they're using the same email address, I can just look up the previous conversation.
Right.
And obviously I'm careful not to give them advice to a stranger. That's not what I'm going to do. But they just wanted to be heard. I hear you. That must be really tough. Hang in there, or whatever little something I can offer them. But these are the people that when you have something that's going to be valuable to them, they're going to remember that you actually cared about them.
Right. Right. Amazing. Yeah, absolutely true. I think that email is that primary way to really build and nurture a long-term relationship. I think that WhatsApp could work as well, but text definitely does not. But email, again, I would say it's like the old-fashioned letter writing, but just in our day and age. And everybody knows that the old-fashioned letter writing was the apex of, I wouldn't say the apex of human communication because that would be in person. It was like the apex of a real connection built without human communication. Like telephone is kind of written. So I think email done right, bring that back to a certain degree. I think.
Yeah, I do. I agree with that.
Is there anything else that you would love to add?
I think that the most important thing to remember when you're doing this kind of course, not an information course, but a transformational course, is put people's safety first. You have to remember that information comes second. People's safety, I can't stress it enough, comes first. When I teach these courses, by the way, I have a coach online with me because, if anybody, it's never happened that anybody's needed it. But in case somebody gets overloaded, I want them to have a resource. So I have somebody online with me, and I don't know that everybody, depending on what course you're offering it, you may not need that. But it just underscores for me the need for keeping people safe. You're meeting on the Zoom or Meet or what, you can't hold somebody's hand and help them ground. You have to set it up in a way that you're supporting people no matter what.
Wow. That's powerful. And I think it's such an important thing to hear. I love the idea of you having a coach on every call. Very, very interesting. Thank you so much for sharing that. Wow. Thanks so much for meeting me today and doing this. I think there's so much to learn from the way you've been doing things and just the way your course is evolving. And I wish you so much Hatzlacha. I hope it's going to double, triple, and keep moving upwards. We're watching this space.
Thank you so much. It was really fun to see you again and to share this with you. And I am thrilled for you that you're launching your podcast. And I wish you all the Hatzlacha in the world.
Thank you.